Alana Jordan. I am meeting her now for the first time, and I'm thrilled about what you're going to hear and learn today. And ta-da, welcome to the 2024 Vegan Bundle. Yay!
Yay!
We just heard last night, and our creators are Lisa Maris and Chef AJ. And we just heard last night that the bundle now has 151 contributors. The value is over $8,070. And I'm going to jump right in here because Alanna only has 45 minutes with us. Why? Well, she's got to pick up her children. Who are these children? She has a pair of twins that are still almost babies. Show our photo. Look at this. That was taken a year ago. She's a naturopath. She is a busy mom. She'll tell you more about it. And then she has these little teeny things, 3 babies under 3 years, well, 2 years apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 years old, and the twins are 4.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm going to give her the floor, and she's going to tell you her story. And I'm thrilled about what you're going to see in the bundle from her. Let me get this straight. That is the cover shot. There you go, Nan. That's the cover shot of what you can get in the bundle from her. It's Smoothies and Spice and everything nice. And I love her story. She's a certified naturopath. And go ahead, take it away.
Hi, Nan. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. And it's lovely to get to meet you. This is like one of my favorite parts to these lives. These bundles are the lives that we are able to set up with all these amazing creators. I'm going to lift the camera up a little bit so you can see me better. There we go. So I'm super excited to be on today and just give you a little bit of my background and my offer in this vegan health bundle that is insane. It's an amazing offer. I contributed an ebook called Smoothies Spice and Everything Nice. I decided to create an ebook around creating unusual smoothies that utilize herbs and spices, just to like kind of get you out of the norm. I felt like as a busy mom, I was just making the same smoothies over and over. So I felt like it would be interesting to try to create even some just simple recipes with different spices. And I will get back to my contribution. But first, I'll just explain like how I ended up in this bundle and what I do. I'm a naturopath. I live in Bordeaux, France, originally from New Sharon, Maine. I spent 22 years of my life in Paris. I had a pretty amazing job at a contemporary art foundation and was traveling the world. And when I decided to settle down and have children, I had my first son. And then, and my partner and I had to go through an IVF process for personal reasons. And then when I was pregnant with my first son, my mother, who had been severely obese my entire life, she was very sick. She'd been sick, like I said, my entire life. She had diabetes, asthma, failed lap band surgery, 2 rounds of cancer. And then when I was pregnant with this first son, she died of her third round of cancer. So it was needless to say, it was an extremely stressful experience for me. And it's not sheer chance, but basically a year later, I became pregnant naturally with twins. So it was like a huge surprise. And these twins, one of the twins was a little bit smaller than the other one, and I had to go to the hospital on a regular basis for checkups, and it was very stressful because, the doctors were telling me like, your twins could be in danger, da 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 da. And so I had these 3 children in 2 years, right after losing my mom, and then I lost my uncle. So I had like 2 deaths because my uncle was like a second father to me. The deaths of 2 people who were very important to me, and then the births of 3 people who are the most important to me in my life, my kids. And so I decided to leave Paris, move to Bordeaux, and I went back to school to become a naturopath and a plant-based coach. I'm a certified raw food coach. And so my mission in life is to help other busy mothers, busy women release weight a sustainable way using plant-based nutrition, focusing on raw living foods and lower fat. And so, yeah, I've created a program where I basically accompany the person through different phases and like mindset techniques to really get them to a point where they make little shifts in their life to eat healthier and release the weight. And so, getting back to my contribution to the bundle, this ebook contains, I think it's 26 different recipes. Well, like I said, smoothies, spice, and everything and nice. That basically I chose one spice or one herb for each smoothie. And why I focused on smoothies, because smoothies are a big part of my lifestyle because I have these 3 kids. They're super young. My son Matisse, he's 6. Marceau and Joaquin, they are 4 now. But it requires a lot of time. I have, my business to run and my kids to take care of. And I'm also doing practicing massage. So it's just like a lot. And smoothies are a great way of getting healthy nutrition. So I'm going to show you today how to make, it's called the tonka bean smoothie. And the tonka bean, if you guys have never heard of the tonka bean, I wish I could let you smell it. I can smell it. It's actually a seed from a flowering tree in the pea family. And this is what it looks like. So it's like kind of an oblong, dark brown, withered seed that smells similar to vanilla. And so this smoothie that I'm going to make for you is super, super easy. I'm just going to back up the camera a little bit so you can see me. Excuse me for, let's see. I'm going to move this around a little bit so you'll get a little bit better of a vision of me. So I just have my trusty Vitamix. Now, the tonka bean smoothie requires a few bananas, and I actually am using frozen bananas because we ran out of fresh bananas. Like, we eat so many bananas. I think I buy an 18-kilo box of bananas once every 2 weeks. That's more than 36 pounds of bananas. So I'm going to go ahead and put these bananas in here. So the recipe calls for 3 bananas, and I think that I have maybe 3.5 or 4 here, frozen bananas. And I honestly, I love making frozen banana smoothies just because the texture is just amazing. And then this is a very simple recipe. It's a 2-ingredient recipe plus water. Some of the recipes in the ebook actually have maybe I think up to 6 or 7 ingredients, but that was one of the other things I really wanted to focus on, is having super simple recipes, because a lot of times people just don't have time for complex recipes, and especially if you're a busy parent, having simple, yummy recipes can be great. So I just have my little grater, and I do try to break up the tonka bean a little bit. I find that usually the Vitamix really gets it nice, and it just kind of absorbs the bean because of the blades being so powerful. But I do try to break it up a little bit just so I don't have to be blending this thing for too long and then it gets warm. I'm just gonna break it up with my fingers because this one's actually kind of soft. There we go. And so yeah, if you haven't checked out the bundle, you probably haven't because it just started. Should check out the link that Nan has put on this below this video so you can check it out. It's an amazing, amazing, amazing resource. So I'm just going to put that in there and hope for the best. And then the recipe in my book calls for, so 3 bananas, 1 cup water, 1.5 tonka beans. But since this is frozen banana, I'm going to actually go in and just put I'm going to put more water in there. So it'll be a little bit more liquidy. My recipes are very fluid, like you don't have to be sticking to exact proportions. Once you get the hang of it, you can adjust according to what you like. They are there for inspiration. So I'm going to go ahead and blend. Let's see, I'm going to turn the blender on. I can talk again. So here is the smoothie. I'm going to go ahead and lift this back up. This is kind of
Alanna, I'm going to jump in a minute because I realized something that we didn't do. Alanna is my first interview of the bundle. This is the beginning moment of the bundle. I don't have your link.
Oh,
That. So email it to me like immediately when you get a chance. And you guys hold off because I'll put this on in the description. You can use either of our links, but we've got to get her link up there. So hold off just a minute.
oh, that's sweet of you. Okay, it's actually really
Go on with your demo, but I wanted to say that in case you're thinking, wait, where is it? It's not here yet. All right. All right.
That's okay. I actually created a shortcut to my link. It's I will email it. I will email it right now. So yeah, well,
also, if it's easy, you can also simply say it. Get out your pen or pencil, people. And some of these links, if they're shortcuts, are not those 15 multi-letter number things. They're just pretty straightforward. So if it's something that's straightforward, just say it out loud.
Yes, I'm pretty sure that it's bit.ly/Naturominta vegan health. I'm just double checking. It is on my Instagram page and my Facebook page. You can find me at Naturominta, and you can find me at Alana Jordan on Facebook.
You know what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to spell the Minta because it's hard for people to understand what you're saying. So if you want, you can just sort of spell out your bit right now. Okay.
Okay. So Bitly, it's bit.ly/Naturominta is NATUROMINTA, and then it's vegan health. So vegan and then health. But we can, I'm just going to email it to you right now. That way you can see. Sorry about this. But vegan. So anyways, to get back to the smoothie. So if any of you have just tried making like a banana smoothie by itself, the tonka really adds a nice kind of I won't worry about the link. You can find my link, like I said, my Instagram page or my Facebook page. So smoothie is like sweet and delicious. Here, I'm just gonna pour some so you can see it. And so it adds like a nice vanilla flavor. And just to know, the tonka bean contains coumarin, and that's supposed to help with it can help with headaches, or it can help with digestion, and even improve your mood. And so the smoothies in my ebook don't have therapeutic doses of herbs and spices, but because a lot of these herbs and spices, you'd have to take large quantities of them. but there have been scientific studies that show that adding herbs and spices is really good for the microbiome in your gut. So regardless, of whether you're getting the therapeutic dose, like having the diversity of herbs and spices in your lifestyle can be really beneficial. So I'm just going to try it. And I've got the smoothies mustache rather than the milk mustache that I grew up with in the 1990s. Yeah, it's really delicious. Like I said, it's 2 ingredients plus water, but it's really amazing. And my kids tried all of the smoothies in this when I was creating them for the ebook, and they loved all of them. And these are small kids, so that's like a good indicator that they're good smoothies. And so, yeah, I specialize in helping busy moms to release weight and have more energy, like I was saying. I do have a free Facebook group where I provide some support, and I also provide free 15-minute consultations to those who are interested in just hopping on a call with me, and I can like map out a few ideas for whoever is in need. And yeah, it's a joy helping people get back to the basics and learning how to live a plant-based lifestyle. There are like a lot of tips and tricks and different hacks that you can learn on how to make your lifestyle livable, because we do live in a world where we're surrounded by a lot of processed food, and our social lives gravitate around food. And a lot of the food is animal based, especially during the holidays. We have these references of, the turkey for Thanksgiving and ham for dinner, and a lot of like alcohol and, things that excite the system like chocolate and cacao. And I'm not saying that you have to like totally eliminate all of these products, but it really is, it can be super powerful to learn how to get to a super healthy base and then really, focus on living that way most of the time, and to achieve your goals. And as your microbiome changes, as your gut changes, your cravings actually change as well. Like what you're attracted to modifies, and it's just a really like, it's a great, cycle to get yourself into. And I strongly believe that our children are the future, and we need to be teaching them how to eat healthier. And even though, there are birthday parties and occasions where they may be eating like lots of candy and things like that, I think that there is like a way of teaching your children how to eat healthily on a day-to-day basis, and maybe go outside of that like every once in a while. And with my 3 kids, I've worked hard to teach them the benefits of eating plant-based. My son Matisse is actually, he's kind of a hardcore vegan like on his own, even though like my philosophy is like, explain to them where foods come from and then kind of let them make their decision. Although like I'm not going to be cooking meat and dairy and things like that for them, but if they go outside of my home, to not make them feel like they have to do everything that I say. And my eldest son Matisse, he's just very naturally interested in animal rights and is not at all in support of eating animal products. And my twins, they're a little bit more open to eating dairy sometimes, even though they know that like I don't support that and I don't think it's healthy. I just think that it's great to teach the basics to your family, and then kind of plant the seed and like make delicious recipes so that they can thrive on these like beautiful delicious recipes, and they're not missing out on anything, because they they're getting the best nutrition possible, and their palate is getting accustomed to eating in a very healthy way. So
May I join
okay,
you?
this is I'm drinking my smoothie.
I want that. I want that so badly. I'm not familiar with tonka, and now I have to go and find some tonka that sounds delicious. And
Oh, awesome. You've never heard of Tonka?
no, no, I'm not familiar with it.
That's
If you
great.
go to Alana's smoothies, and I mean, for the price of the bundle, just getting this course, and again, there's 100, come on, man, there's 181 contributors. No, I said that wrong, 151.
151.
Just,
That's
just
so many.
this would be worth $50. So what she's done is she has chosen the most medicinal and possibly her favorite herbs and spices, listed them. So here's an herb and spice. Here's what a bit about it. Here's its history in terms of health benefits. Here's what it is, especially at medicinal levels, it has to offer us physiologically. And then there's a recipe or two under it. And she goes through, I don't know, it's a dozen, maybe a dozen and a half spices. Well, I looked at, well, one thing I know that I use every day is turmeric. And turmeric, some people call it turmeric, and she talks about that. But it's marvelous in this way to understand how to use these herbs and spices, and it's all outlined there. Now, I have some questions for you. You have these young children. Did you raise them completely plant-based through their lives? Want to know about that. And I know people are thinking, and I don't like this question. Those of us who are whole food plant-based get annoyed at this question because it implies that we're not doing this possibly right and that somebody needs to remind us about it. But where do you get your protein? When you're using smoothies in the morning, do you have additional something? Or tell us about the nutritional well,
The framework that I use.
yes, the framework. Thank you. You're scaffolding. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Yeah, those are a lot of really great questions. So firstly, my children, my first son, Matisse, actually, I wasn't a naturopath at that point, and I was vegan, and I went to see a naturopath. This is interesting because this is kind of part of the reason why I decided to become a naturopath. I went to see one in Paris because I was like, I just lost my mother, and I was like going through a lot of strife, and I wanted to get some support from someone. And I was like worried about like the pregnancy just because, I was in distress. So I went to see this naturopath, and I don't think, I think she had good intentions. She wasn't a bad person by any means, but she had a lot of misinformation that she shared with me. She told me that I needed to start eating eggs again. And then she had actually written a book about like milk for children growing up, and like basically her book like went into different types of baby formulas and how they should be used and da 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 da. And so after my first son was born, I breastfed him for a year, but we did end up supplementing him with goat's milk formula after the year, just because like I said, I had been like really kind of brainwashed into thinking that like my breast milk wasn't enough and that like he needed to have like more calcium, and my partner was like not on board totally. So it's tricky, like when I mean, like any family, you're not, when there are two parents, you're not the only one that makes a decision. So my first son did have some formula for a while, and then I was uncomfortable with it, and I quickly changed it to almond milk formula from a really fancy company called La Mondor. And so I started getting him on this other formula with DHA and EPA that had been added to it. I believe that it was algae based DHA and EPA. And then my twins, because the smaller twin was on they were sharing the same placenta, and they had two umbilical cords. And since his umbilical cord was like on the side and he was smaller, they they basically decided that I needed to have a C-section 5 weeks early before they were due to get them out sooner, just to like avoid potential health issues. And so when those babies were born, I was like, I tried to breastfeed them, and I was having issues. And now I know why. I think I was chronically dehydrated because I wasn't eating enough raw food and just not getting enough like hydration. And I think like just the stress was like keeping me in chronic dehydration mode. And so I was able to breastfeed them for a couple of days, and then they had blood sugar issues, and they had to go into intensive care, both of them, for a week. And they refused. Like I was I was pumping as much as possible, but they refused to like use anything besides their baby formula. So, obviously, like my kids were in an intensive care unit, and I just like let the doctors do their thing. It was an extremely disempowering experience, but I'm also grateful that my children are still alive and survived. So that's the way things played out. But I was super proud of myself. I was breastfeeding the twins at the same time, and I was able to wean them off of the formula when they were 2 months old. Like I completely eliminated the formula. And so I was taking care of my eldest, who was like 1.5 years old, and then breastfeeding the twins and like off of the formula. And then when they got into school in France, it's like impossible to have a vegan meal at school. So we decided that it would be okay to give them vegetarian meals, especially knowing that the grandparents, the French grandparents, they do their best, but to them like vegan is like difficult for them to understand how to do. And so they were okay with doing vegetarian, but vegan was like one step a little bit further than what they felt comfortable with. So that's kind of how that started. And today, all three of the kids refuse to eat cheese and milk. And if they know that there are eggs in something, they don't want it. So they're like naturally going towards, veganism, even though they do have small quantities of dairy and eggs. And that's just where we are today. Like I said, my partner, he's not vegan, so it's like it's a bunch of it's compromising.
So
And
tell us, finish. I don't want to.
oh yeah, it's just doing my best to try to like introduce them to like as much helpful plant food. And what I cook at home is of course vegan, but when they're outside of this home, there are like other people in their lives that are not totally on board. So
Yeah.
that's the way it is today.
Well, it sounds like it's working well for you, and you've got a beautiful, healthy family. Tell us what you. I'm gonna sound like Chef AJ now. Tell us what you eat in a day, because
So
you're
what
high, what you call high raw, right? Does
high
that?
raw, and I try to stick to the low fat. I know that some days I will eat a higher fat meal, and then I'll try to like make up for it the day after, later on the day. Usually in the morning, well, every morning I start off with like a large quantity of like a glass jar of water and lemon juice or lime juice, just to help, give my body some time to continue detoxing after sleep. And then I usually have a smoothie or fruit, and then greens. Sometimes I love adding daily green boost. For those of you who don't know it, it's barley grass juice powder. It's raw. It's like a really, really good supplement. By the way, you can get 10% off with Naturopath, my name again, the code. And so yeah, I'll have a smoothie or fruit, or sometimes I will like mash up bananas and add fruit. So in the morning, like it's always fruity and green, like, and it's always raw. And then for lunch, sometimes I will continue having fruit or a salad. Sometimes I'll have steamed potatoes or steamed sweet potatoes, but I do tend to try to keep the lunch raw as well. And then for dinner, I have like vegetables, like a huge salad. I try to get a lot of greens in throughout the day. So it could be like cabbage and romaine lettuce and, carrots and green and peppers and all sorts of vegetables. An oil-free dressing, sometimes with some small amounts of nuts and seeds. And I do have some cooked recipes that I've been making, a few of them. They're all gluten-free, oil-free, salt-free, and refined sugar-free. So I use dates in my recipes. So that's basically what I eat. And like sometimes I do go out to eat. Like we went to a vegan restaurant last week and I ate the cooked meal that was there as an option because there were no other really, there weren't any like high raw meals at all. A lot of them were very cooked. And there was a lot of sauce on the meal. It was good, but it's interesting because I do notice that like when I go out to eat elsewhere, like there's a lot of salt, there's a lot of oil, there's a lot of sauce.
Yeah.
And my kids were all like, there's too much sauce, and they didn't want to finish it. And I was like, I was really happy because I was like, wow, that's like a sign that they are like, their palate is like really becoming accustomed to eating healthy most of the time. And I just felt like really good about the situation because to me it was proof that they are, yeah, that they're becoming accustomed to eating a lot of whole foods that are just simple. Like we'll make green beans. My kids will just like eat the green beans like that. Like we don't put sauce, we don't put olive oil, we don't put, salt on them. They just eat the food like that. So super simple.
So truly whole food, plant-based.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes I'll make a little bit more of a complex meal, but I do try to like have, I'd say at least three food items that are not like mixed with other things like avocado and green beans and cherry tomatoes and I try to do as simple as possible. And there's also the food combining principle behind that as well. Like when you do mono meals are great for that. Like if you want to, for lunch today, I had 5 apples. That was my lunch.
5 apples. That's a lot of chewing, a lot of fabulous flavor, and simple as can be. That's wonderful. So I read that did I get this right? That when you became whole food plant-based, it maybe I'm thinking wrong, that you lost 35 pounds? Or did I read somebody else's
Actually,
bio?
no, that's it.
Okay.
Actually, to back up a little bit further, I became vegetarian when I was 12 years old,
Okay.
and I'm almost 45. So I've been kind of plant-based for a really long time, like because I became vegetarian for animal rights. And unfortunately, when I became vegetarian in the 90s, like in the middle of Maine, like no one really knew what being vegetarian was, or it was just kind of a foreign thing. And unfortunately, like my mom was convinced that I needed to get protein and calcium from dairy. And so she did the best she could, like, bless her. Like I don't want to say anything negative about my mother. She was like my best friend, but she did the best she could. And like I was eating a lot of dairy because of this like false belief. And I became vegan about 10 years ago. And when I was pregnant with my first son and I lost my mother, I had like I had this belief system that I had to be eating the fake meats. Like I was vegan, but I was vegan for the animals and not for my health. So I was eating a lot more processed foods. And that's where I like started running into trouble. After the 3 pregnancies, I had 35 pounds to lose and I had heart palpitations and ear ringing and just like all sorts of different health issues. Like I had back pain and acne, and it was not a great time for me. And so, yeah, I just knew that like I needed to change something, and that's like that coincided with my decision to switch gears and switch careers and go back to school to become the naturopath. It was like all these, seeing my mother suffer and pass away, having these issues myself. It was the middle of like the pandemic, and it was also like this wanting to like bring something larger to the world than what I was doing. So it was like all of these different things kind of coincided all at once and brought me to this path.
So you
And then,
specialize. I'm going to honor your time. I know in 9 minutes you have to go. Um, tell them how they can reach you if they want to work with you, but tell them what you primarily do in your work. I believe it's working with mothers.
yes, I specialize in helping busy moms. I mean, I could work with busy dads as well, but my program was really designed for busy moms who'd like to release weight and teach their family how to eat healthier. And so it's an 8-week program, and it includes 8 weekly meetings, about an hour and a half long, where I teach you the framework. I talk about like the protein myth, and I talk about how to get your nutrition through plant-based foods and recipes. I go a lot over the mindset. There are some writing exercises, and then there's a group discussion on Discord. It's an application on your phone, so you can like ask questions. You basically have access to me 24/7. And then I also go into a personalized naturopathic consultation where I will do an anamnesis with you, like your health history, your family's health history, what your goal is. Like maybe if you're, insomniac, having issues sleeping, maybe you're depressed, maybe you're having skin issues. Like it could be a lot of different health issues going on. And so I try to help you hone in on particular like herbs, like phytotherapy that you could be using. I specialize in Bach flower elixirs, and they kind of function like homeopathic medicine. They're vibrational, and those are more, they help you work with your emotions. So my package is like a real combination of like personalized naturopathic consultations, and then the group meetings where I give you the framework. And so you can, if you're interested, you can contact me at Naturominta on Instagram or Alana Jordan on Facebook, and we can talk about what it would look like working together. And I do offer like discounts here and there. And so yeah, if you're interested, just contact me and we can talk about it.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you very much. It's been such a pleasure to meet you. You have a fascinating life from Maine to France. Um, tell them to buy the bundle in French.
Achetez le bundle. C'est un super achat.
I love it. I love it. Buy the bundle in English or French.
Yes, yes.
What an opportunity.
Have you been to France, Nan?
Yes, yes. When my son had just graduated from high school, we went for 2 weeks. We began in Paris and we got a place there and kept it there. But I got a car and we drove through the Périgord region, and my son was really into food. And so we were only eating at Michelin-starred restaurants. So we went
Wow.
to the Périgord region to Bordeaux. We took a train over to Nîmes, and this took 2 weeks of just going and eating. So yes, and then I've been twice since. So yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There was actually a Michelin star restaurant, a plant-based Michelin star restaurant not far from Bordeaux. And I was super bummed because during the pandemic it closed down, but I heard that it was amazing. They did a really good, yeah, and being in France was kind of a huge surprise because, it is a country that's difficult to navigate in as a vegan.
I've heard that.
It's not
Okay.
it's not easy, but yeah.
Anything that you want to say to end with?
Well, I wanted to say that your course looks really amazing too. Like I said, I downloaded it before this call, but like going through it quickly, it looks amazing. So you have like anyone watching this video, you should really go out and get this bundle because like there are full courses in here, there are recipes, there's a yoga challenge. I believe there's a woman also doing more business type stuff with like the plant-based lifestyle. Like there are just so many resources out there.
Yeah.
And what's really cool is that you have kind of a glimpse at all of these different professionals who are working with a plant-based lifestyle. And if any of these people resonate with you, then you can go ahead and like even work with them on a more one-on-one basis, or like they have other products and other courses that you can check out. So it's kind of it's like a sampler platter. Like get your sampler platter that has like so much in it already, and then you can take it further if you want to.
If you can leave it where it is, in other words, in virtual space, and you have access to it for a year, or you just download the whole thing onto your computer or on a flash drive and go in, and you can't even internalize 151 offerings, but little by little you can open up someone's program like this one. I didn't really understand what this was until I did a deeper dive, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is fabulous. This is, where is this? And thank you for bringing up my offering. My book, Aging Powerfully, I wrote just before I turned 70. That was 3 years ago. And it's a little bit of a memoir. I had an eating disorder for decades and decades that I was able to leave behind because of a whole food plant-based diet. But this also, because I'm a lifestyle medicine, health and wellness coach, this also uses the word powerfully as an acronym for 10 lifestyle modalities that will help you age with power. And my book PDF is part of the bundle. And then I have an additional training class that my goal is to inspire people to eat at home, whole food, plant-based, stay away from the stuff they put in on at restaurant foods. And it takes you through breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, and even the basics of kitchen prep. So you go. Thank you for joining us. And I'll be putting up her link, and have a great day, because I know I'm going to. Take care.
Thank you, Nan.
All right. Hold on for just a second, and I'm going to end the stream. Bye, everyone.